What country did your ancestors come from?
England. We come from all of the countries in England, which we know is England, Ireland and Wales and Scotland. But saying England is the easiest.
What area of the country did they come from?
What area? I can't remember where the Shropshires came from, but that county of Shropshire in England was named for them.
S-H.
They owned the county.
I-R-E.
When did they come to Texas?
To Texas? Let me think. Okay, my Shropshire family came in 1851, but they came to the United States the latter part of the 16th century, 1600s.
Why did your ancestors come to the United States?
I have
And
no
or
idea.
Texas.
Well, yes, I do.
And
The first Shropshires came, they were brothers, and they were ministers of the Church of England, and they came over here and started the Episcopal Church.
That's all right. And then do you know why, specifically like in 1851, do you know why they came to
How
Texas
did they-
maybe?
To some extent, they came from Kentucky, and
They're out
my
of fried chicken.
great-grandfather's parents died of cholera. They had a large family. The thing that I question is none of those children got the cholera, and one was a baby in arms.
Wow.
And yet both parents supposedly died of cholera.
So why did they move from there to Texas?
Grandpa was just 16 years old, and they had to sell the property. They were forced
That's
to
kind
sell
of
it to
weird.
another branch of the Shropshire family.
What is that?
And so they moved here after they sold the property
Yeah,
for work
after
or
by
whatever.
the time he was an adult and had married, then he and his wife came to Texas seeking
Employment
land.
and land.
Land
How did they come to Texas?
by wagon,
That's fine.
covered wagon. I think they already had one son when they came. They had a large family. And that home site that my grandfather had to give up
I-S-H.
is still in existence and still owned by a different branch of our Shropshire family.
Are there things that your family brought with them when they moved to Texas?
Hopefully not cholera.
No, that's what's such a mystery. Because there was 9 or 10 children,
Oh, wow.
and none of them got it.
Just parents.
It's to me, it's a mystery.
So just when they moved to Texas, just family then?
Uh-huh.
They didn't bring any specific possession with them or anything.
No.
Just
Okay.
family, yeah.
Did your family speak a language other than English?
No. Only English.
They came from England,
Yes.
which is where English came from.
What kind of things did your family do together?
Back then.
They were farmers. They farmed the land, grew crops.
What games did you like to play when you were little?
Oh, hopscotch,
Nintendo.
hide and seek.
Xbox.
We didn't have any of that.
Jump rope.
Yeah, jump rope, hide and seek, baseball.
Comma. Hide and seek.
I got a scar on my head where I got hit with the bat. You're doing good, Chloe.
Yeah. Did you play much marbles?
No.
No?
That was a boys' sport, I
Oh,
think,
was
back
it?
then. I think there was kind of a girl-boy baseball would have been pretty, because,
Yeah.
Yeah, we girls were not allowed
Yeah.
to play marbles because the
Really?
boys wouldn't let us.
What did you do after school?
I wonder what they mean there.
they're talking, like you and Tina used to go to the library all
Oh,
the
yeah.
time. But, yeah, they walked to the library.
Yeah.
Because, you know, some kids may have come home and done work or, you know, that's
Right.
probably what they're asking is.
The old library is
Austin Public
Go.
across
Library.
from the park from
Go
the
to-
courthouse. And we would spend the summer there.
Mm-hmm.
The library.
That and go to picture shows. And go swimming. Deep Eddy.
Mm-hmm.
After supper?
After supper, we would read or do our homework and go to bed. We didn't have TV. That was before TV was available.
Mm-hmm.
We weren't deprived though.
No, that's just it, yeah.
It didn't end. On the weekends?
I guess they want to know what we did on the weekends. Pretty much what we did after school.
Well, you went to the movies and went
Movies,
swimming.
yeah, Saturday, we received a quarter for doing the dishes, and we'd go to the movies, and that would buy us a ticket and some popcorn or candy.
Can you imagine?
Swimming.
It was just 11 cents for the movie.
That's fine. Okay.
Where did you go to school?
Well, I went to Austin High School.
Mm-hmm.
What was school like?
It was like any school, although we didn't have the problems in
Yeah,
school.
well, you didn't have air conditioning.
No, we
You
didn't.
What subjects did you like best?
Math.
Did you do any elective type like choir, art?
No, I don't recall doing that. The way they had this class situation was quite different. When we were in junior high, for 3 months, I believe it was, we were with one class, and then 3 months another class, and 3 months another class, and it was homemaking, woodworking, and stuff like that.
Okay.
And it was spread out, but that was in junior high. But when we got to high school, it was totally different.
What were some special foods that you ate at home?
Some special food. Texas hash. That was a family recipe.
What do you still eat that your parents or grandparents cooked for you?
Oh, goodness. Fried chicken.
Okay.
Did your parents or grandparents tell you any stories?
Yeah.
Are
But
they,
it's
can they
too
be
long to
repeated?
tell.
No. Were there any specific, type stories that would be that we would know?
Well, I'll tell you one that Mother told me, and she delighted in it. And she and some of her friends, this was when she was a teenager. I don't know if they'd gone trick-or-treating or what, but they were out on a country road, and they were walking close to a cemetery. And off in the distance, they could see what they thought was a ghost. It'd come up out of the grave, then it'd go down. It'd come up out of the grave, and then it'd go down. Well, Mama couldn't run because she was crippled really bad.
What
So
was
she was left behind.
What was she crippled from?
She had osteomyelitis as a child, and one leg was 5 inches shorter
wow.
than the other.
Okay.
And she had to wear a big old boot to give an equal to the leg. Anyway, she was left behind as the brave ones ran away, and Mama had a lot of courage, and she was determined to find out what that ghost was doing. Well, she went into the cemetery, and it turned out it was a white horse.
Oh.
He would go down to eat some grass and come up.
stand up.
That's
And the
what.
horse would go down and his head down and eat the grass and then come up and he'd chew the grass and swallow it. It wasn't a ghost at all, it was a horse.
What are some holiday customs or birthday customs that were celebrated in your family?
We just celebrated Christmas like everybody else does. There weren't anything really special other than just having Christmas.
Family.
Christmas tree and gifts. And that was about it. Thanksgiving, we had Thanksgiving dinner, treats, just like Americans.
So is it even on Grandpa's side? Where are we from on Grandpa's side?
Your grandfather was part French
Okay.
because his grandfather was from France.
Huh.
And as a result, he had the French influence in his life. They didn't speak French, but he had that genetic background and everything.
Okay.
And that was the Prier family.
Okay.
And then from the Milam, that came from his grandmother, and I think they were English. I'm not positive, but I think the Milam family was English. But I don't really know that much about them.
Other than they've been around this area for a long time.
Yes, since 1837. No, 1835. Before that, Ben Milam came in about 1826 to
Is it
Texas.
same Milam's as like Milam County?
That was named for him.
Okay.
And there's a street in Austin named Milam.
Huh.
And that was one of his uncles. His grandmother's maiden name was Milam,
Mhm.
Nancy Milam.
And you hear Prier all the time, only it's spelled Purrier.
But
that's-
you
yeah.
hear him pronounce it Purrier, but the real pronunciation is Prier. And your great-grandmother, lived at Bee Cave, had a picture of the store, and has wire and Prier on it. And it burned to the ground, and when that happened, Uncle Dave decided he'd move to Austin. And Papa Prier stayed there and built the store, the building that's there now. And that's where Nana and Papa married, was there in Driftwood.
So Grandpa was a land developer, or
He was what are they called? He was broker.
Real estate broker.
He and Papa bought property off that ranch. It was a 3,000 acre ranch.
Yeah, but before that, even before Papa was in real estate, didn't he build roads at some point?
He worked for another company that
Right.
he did bulldozer
road.
work
Right.
and stuff like that. And he worked for a gentleman called Al Ehrlich and hauled lumber for him. And where that Baldwin school, that's where Al Ehrlich's yard was for his timber. That shows you how much of a change has taken place in that region.
And then he got into real estate and he bought, at first it was like ranches because he had the one in
Yeah,
Lost
because they
Creek.
started out over there off of 1431.
Right.
That first 600 acres that Papa bought. And they divided that up and sold off acreage there. And then they got a chance at this 3,000 acre piece.
When did he have the property at Lost Creek with the ranch house and the,
That was Papa's
yeah, when it
own
was there?
place. And I don't know what year he bought that, but see, he gained the money to buy all that property, which was over 2,000 acres, when he worked on the Mansfield Dam.
Yeah, so he worked on the Mansfield
Yeah,
Dam when it was
helped to
being built,
build
Papa
it.
did.
And it was there that he earned that money during the Depression years. And he bought the property there, which is Lost Creek now. And they built that, started out with a garage apartment, and then he built that gorgeous,
Ranch
and it's
house. I
gone.
know.
Oh, I'm just sick
But
over
that's
that.
where they did custom restaurant stuff on the weekends and grilled steaks for.
Yeah. And the governor was out there. I got to meet him and his mother-in-law and his wife. And there were prominent people that came
Right.
out. And
That's
yeah,
why
it was
I
by appointment only.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't drop in. Because he had to know how much food he had to have on hand.
Yeah.
And he got his steaks out of Kansas City, I believe it was. Anyway, it was supposed to be the best steaks available. And
He
then
had
he
those
had
huge
chicken.
barbecue pits, the
He built it
grills,
himself.
yeah,
I don't know.
built bread grills.
I don't know the time frames, but did you use regular refrigerators? Did you have the old ice boxes, or
When,
when you were when you were a kid and stuff? Did
Oh,
you,
we had ice boxes when we lived in the country because we didn't have electricity.
so they bring you a big chunk of ice and put it in the box, and that was. So they didn't have refrigerators. They had a box and they put a big block of ice in it, and that's what kept their food cold.
did y'all have outhouse?
Yeah.
Outhouse, they didn't even have a bathroom in their house.
They had to go outside to go to the bathroom. So at night you gotta go potty, you gotta go outside. You
Yeah,
say
it
you
was a
didn't
little-
have, you say you didn't have electricity? So
No
they were like we were
kerosene
using
lamps.
candles the other night. They'd use lamps. That's
All
what
the
they used.
time. You take a bath, they put a big tub in the middle of the house and heat water and pour it in the,
Those old big round wash tubs is what we took baths. That was back in the late 30s and early 40s.
Now was water readily available, or was it hard to come by? I mean, did you kind of share like a bath, or or was it?
No, we drew it out of the well.
Oh, you drew it out of the well. And so you-
manual labor, yeah.
Yeah, and that is a job.
Yeah,
Bucket
wow.
after bucket after bucket.
So did y'all bathe often then, or did y'all kind of try to?
No, about twice a week.
Oh, okay. So I was watching on the TV the other day. They were showing little pockets of fragrances that people used to wear to try to kind of.
I think that,
Yeah.
was that like the sachet pouches, what they call them, or remember they were called sachets?
That you put with your clothes.
Yeah.
To keep them fragrant after
So you
you
don't have to
washed
wash
them,
them. Yeah.
fold them, or hung them in the closet. And actually, you didn't have very much closet space back
Oh,
in those
yeah.
days.
So you probably didn't have a whole lot of clothes. I'm guessing. I mean,
No, you didn't. Fabric was expensive.
Yeah.
And they used, what was it, what type of sacks was it, flour sacks to make clothes with?
Oh yeah, I had a number of dresses made out of flour sacks because they were decorated.
Mm-hmm.
And they were really very pretty and sturdy fabric too,
Mm-hmm.
cotton fabric.
They used to take things when they couldn't wear them and they'd make quilts out of the scrap material. That's how you came up with patch quilts and stuff.
Yeah.
They use their scrap material.
The quilters today go buy their fabric, but back then it was made from old clothes that you could find good pieces of scraps in, and scraps from new clothes being made.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how was y'all's groceries different? I mean,
The what?
like your groceries, did y'all buy, since you didn't have a refrigerator like we do, did y'all buy a bunch of cured meats and things like that? Or, I mean, did y'all kill your own meats or buy
Well,
your meat, or?
You know, I don't really remember. I do know that they killed a hog one winter, and it had to be winter time to do that, so they could protect the meat. And they rendered out the fat from that, and Mama made sausage and made it in patties, and she used to churn, that stone churn. And she put some of the rendered fat in the bottom, then she would put a layer of sausage patties, then some more of the fat, and built it all the way up. And that stored it and kept it safe. Because the meat was cooked. It wasn't raw when it was put in there.
Yeah.
But it preserved it in that fat and that.
And then y'all lived on a farm where you ate, your mom wrung the chickens' necks and y'all ate a lot of chicken because it was, and that's why mom wasn't thrilled about chicken when she got older. She'd had her share.
Yeah,
'Cause they had to kill their
it
own
was a
chickens.
hard life, but boy, it was a good one. We had our own garden. They planted a field of strawberries, and then they had another field of watermelons. And it was the first time I ever saw or tasted a yellow watermelon, because they planted some of those as well as the red ones. And the field had been used for peanuts before Mama bought the property. But it was in East Texas.
think I asked you when I was about Chloe's age, but you had a car when you were growing up, right?
No.
I mean, no? Because I think I asked you, and you, so I asked if you did horses, and I thought you'd said no, but
No.
did y'all use horses then, or?
For the plows were drawn by horses,
But like,
mules.
If you needed
But
to go somewhere,
transportation, how did you-
transportation wise,
Oh, they had a car.
that's what, okay. So you did
Yeah.
have a car. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I even went on a trip to Mexico. Who was that went on the trip to Mexico?
Yeah, my grandfather came, and Sis and Cecil and Tina and I rode with my grandfather, and then Mama and my stepfather rode with Sis and Cecil. And we went to,
About what year was that?
it was in 42, I think it was.
Jumped in your old cars and no AC and heading to
And
Mexico.
when you went into Mexico, they turned off the lights at 9 o'clock in Monterrey, Mexico,
Huh.
Mm.
because of
Was there,
saving electricity.
was there checkpoints like there are now, or did you?
I don't
You don't remember?
remember. You had to go through a checkpoint,
That's
yes,
okay.
but we lived right there at it,
Oh, I got you.
at McAllen.
Mm-hmm.
But it was quite different. We went up into the mountains to Saltillo, which was a very delightful area because it was high in the mountains and it was cool on a hot summer day. It was like having an air conditioning now. And those great big markets where they brought in the produce and other items to sell the people who lived there. It was fascinating. But, yeah, 9 o'clock, the whole city, the light, electricity got literally turned off.
Wow. Huh.
Then you had to use a candle or a kerosene lamp. But it was fun.
When you were a kid going to school, did you go to school every day, or like when you were in elementary, say, did you go every day, or? Okay.
You went to a private school at one point, didn't you?
No, I was at an
Catholic
orphanage for a while.
orphanage. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what it was.
Because Mama couldn't take care of me, and it was a Catholic orphanage, and I was there for about 6 months, and I got real sick with my ear troubles,
Mm-hmm.
and the orphanage didn't want me anymore.
Huh.
Which is kind of so you got to go home at that point anyway, so.
Yeah, and we moved in with Sis and her husband, Clifton, at that time, in San Antonio. But yeah, I've got a picture of Mother and I standing at the gate to that orphanage.
Hmm.
I wasn't happy about it either.
Yeah, no,
I imagine not.
no.
But it didn't last long. But they had a lot of children there whose families just couldn't take care of them. They
Interesting.
couldn't get jobs.
Yeah.
That was pretty much during the Depression.
Depression, yeah.
Yeah.
I must have been between 5 and 6 years of age at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I know Mama, they would only let them work, 6 weeks at the WPA? And as a result, she'd have a job for a while and then nothing.
And that was government
Mhm.
sponsored
Mhm.
work
Mhm.
because that's what they did.
Right, exactly. They were trying to help the people of the nation.
Mm-hmm.
And the CCC farmed after that, they built Bastrop Park, the clubhouse and everything there.
Mhm.
That's how that got there. And they did a lot of that work all over the United States.
That was basically government funded
Mhm.
during the Depression.
Most of the big parks and everything gained from that kind of employment. And again, they were temporarily hired.
Mm-hmm.
But it gave them a little income and a place to sleep and clothes on their back and food in their belly, and they had little money that they could send home to their family. And as a result, it helped tremendously.
Mm-hmm.
But back in those days, we didn't have the big apartment houses. You had homes that were converted into
Right. They were
apartments.
rent rooms.
Yeah, you rented one room. And
Make
everything
ends
was
meet.
down the hall.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember that because I fell down the stairs in one and rolled all the way to the bottom. It didn't break anything, but it wasn't a happy event.
But you went to elementary school and middle, or junior high.
My junior high has been long gone. It was Allen Junior High, and it was on the east side of Congress Avenue. Back up in there, I think it was in the 3rd block of that street, and I can't remember whether it was the 10th Street or 9th Street. I think it was between 9th and 10th Street. And it had originally been the high school, back when they only had 9 grades. In fact, it was while I was in junior high that they added the 12th grade. Up until then, we had 11.
Only 11 grades to go through. And they didn't have kindergarten to speak of back then either. That was
No.
required.
Uh-huh.
Right. It's a little bit different back then.
Yeah, it sure was.
And Daddy's parent, the Preers, their house was on the east side of 35 on what road?
On Holly.
Holly
That's
Street.
where they lived their last part of their life, was there.
And he had a,
Used furniture business.
okay. To me, I remember walking in, I think when I was a kid, I remembered something, it was dusty, and I was like, this is like junk. But
Yeah.
I,
Well, Eston took over that one, and then Papa rented another building on First Street and had his separate. He and his son had problems at times. And Eston lived in that old store building. He slept in the back of it. But yeah, they lived there on Holly Street for a number of years. How long, I don't know, because I don't know when they first moved there. And Margie, her family had a house on 2nd Street. And that's how John
Johnny and Margie met.
They lived there for a while. And then in the 50s, they bought that house on Meadowview.
Wow, really?
They lived there for over
Ever.
50 years.
Yeah. Well, that's what people did
Yeah.
back in the good old days. You
Now, when
walked
they sold
everywhere.
that place on 2nd Street, that included her sister and her brother. And they bought a house on each side of Margie's and John
Oh.
Dee's.
That's pretty cool.